Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. Can you all just get up and sit one side? Because the science of physiology says that you should move your body at least every half an hour. I think we are not moving it for the last 2 hours, right? Thanks a lot for that. With that note, I've just landed in Orissa yesterday for the first time at the land of temples, the city of temples. Learned a little bit of Odia. Kimiti achinti apno? Apan mano kushito? Thanks a lot for that. Thanks for the entire cost accounting body, the leadership, everybody to invite me. I'm CMA Ramadoss from Dubai. And the previous speaker, Mr. CMA Bikachi, is my close friend. We used to work a lot in the Dubai chapter of cost accountants also. So what is that we are talking about today is all about cost management, right? But let me start from a very macro level that we are talking about the Viksit Bharat for 2047, correct? You know, what is the level of economy we are planning to reach? Today morning, the Honorable Member of Rajya Sabha, Sujit Singh, this is the level of growth we want to achieve. And if you look at the level of morning, I think Mr. Gadia was talking about the service sector's importance. That's improving. Also more, Make in India, that's improving a lot. That's what you can see in the slides where by 2040-47, the industry sector is going to go from 26% to 34%. Now, if you talk about the achievements that India has done in the 2024 alone, top 5 sectors in terms of pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, defense, nuclear, energy and space, you can see India has developed the first ever indigenous antibiotic medicine. Give a big hand for that. We also developed the next car system of having the cell therapy for the first time indigenously in India. And if you talk about space, if you talk about, we are the first 3 or 4 countries in the world to launch successfully, right? All the missiles, I'm not talking about the missile which has gone to the other country. Sorry for that. I'm just talking about the space technology. We're very precise and cost effective in making that. And that's going to be a $44 billion achievement in terms of GDP contribution by 2033. If you talk about biotechnology, it has gone 13-fold from 2014 to 2024, which has gone from 10 billion to almost 130 billion. If you talk about nuclear energy, it's getting tripled. All these are possible only because of the TGG, which is called the technology and good governance. And that's not enough. And that's the topic of today. We are all talking about the cost management, right? And we are these proud CMAs who contribute to all the success by managing the cost more effectively and efficiently, correct? What is this cost management talks about? We need to have a proper cost accounting so that we can control it, then we can even reduce it, correctly called as the cost management. Now, if you talk about the cost management, cost reduction, cost technology, that is going in line with the technology transformation. If you look at the slide, it says the technology has transformed in the last almost 200 years from steam engine, right? Then we went to electricity. From electricity, we went to electronics. And now, all combined, put together, we have robotics. And morning, the Rajya Sabha member, honorable member, talked about a lot on AI, right? Now, do you think the cost management can be devoid of this technology? Do you think so? I don't think so. So we have to travel with that. In fact, we are one of the leaders. We need to take this technology to the advantage to the cost management. And if you talk about what are the technologies that is impacting, that is Industrial Revolution 4.0, if you talk about it, digital twins, how that can be useful for cost management, we'll touch upon that. IoT, Internet of Things, artificial AR and VR, correct? Augmented reality and virtual reality. If you talk about digital biomarkers, supply chain IoT, international space economy, digital sovereignty, and very importantly, today you're going to get introduced to a very new term. I'm going to really take some credit to that, but I'll let you know what is that. That's going to be from the quantum financial system. Now, all these are possible because of one technology that has ever been new to the world, where humans have created a lot of technology in the past, but for the first ever time, they created something similar to them, correct? That's what artificial intelligence is about, and cost management cannot be devoid of this artificial intelligence technology. If we talk about every industry, In terms of the training, in terms of adoption, there are various stages of, if you can see, in terms of education and training, in terms of insurance and financial services, the use of AIs are getting very high. That's a use case where we can see a lot of AI technology being used across the globes in various industries. Now let's talk about the emerging global practice in cost management. The first and foremost thing is, the way we going to do the decision support is going to have a transformational change. Because of what? Before, only humans plus humans plus humans were behind the decision making. Correct? Behind every successful decision making, there is a CMA, we say, right? I think we'll change the logo in future. Behind every successful business decision, there is CMA plus AI. That's going to be the thing where we are talking about descriptive, diagnostic, predictive, and prescriptive analytics. Descriptive tells about what is happening. Diagnostic tells about why it is happening. Predictive talks about what will happen. And prescriptive is going to tell you what is the solution or what is the remedy for what is going to happen like that. In that way, we cannot be devoid of decision making without the AI technology helping us. Robots are going to be your advisors. But some things robots still miss. So we are going to be surpassing them in that particular aspect. But the decision maker is not going to be devoid of AI technology. And if you talk about the role of AI in cost management and analysis, I've just put down a lot of thoughts on this, but each one of this topic in itself is a 1 or 2 hour discussion. But just to give a highlight, it's basically the cost optimization, streamlined expense tracking, strategic integrated smart planning. Most of the time we make budgeting in organization devoid of strategy. Strategy goes one way, cost goes management or the budgeting goes one way. So we have to make a smart and predictive analytics, encumbrance accounting. How many of you still do the budget control variance reporting? I'm saying that syllabus is going to be taken out very soon from the cost accounting also, because there is a real-time budgetary control where right from the budget is getting utilized at the purchase order level itself, you have a control. Not that budget is allowed to vary and then you do a damage control saying that there's a post-mortem reporting. No, we are talking about real-time budgetary control system, which is technically called as the encumbrance accounting. You talk about a very important term I'm going to introduce today. I'm very proud to that. Something called as quantum costing. Any of you have heard that term? We all heard, maybe some pure science students who know what is quantum physics. From the quantum physics, there is something called quantum computing. From the quantum computing, now finance is also taking advantage where it says every ingrain of the money spent, 360 degree of that we can find it. For example, a lot of governments are now talking about introducing quantum finance system in the world where, or in the country, every $1, every 1 rupee spent by a person in the country, it's going to be traced. So anti-money laundering is going to be very easy control now. So taking the quantum financing concept to the next level, we have something called quantum costing. What is quantum costing? Every single dollar spent in your manufacturing service or any unit can be monitored. The root cause can be understood. That is going to be a transformation in the costing methodology itself and how do you allocate your overheads. The concept of allocation of overheads is going to be taken out of your curriculum because of quantum costing. And we have cloud-based cost management systems, RPAs, robotic process automations. You talk about various processes are getting automated where the overall cost in processing the financial data itself is getting reduced. And that can give you a lot of insights. This is what I was talking about, quantum costing, where if you go through this slide later on, maybe I can share it. This institute can change it too. And basically, it's talking from a macro level of controlling the every dollar spent in, and that technique is going to be used in costing as well. So what is the impact of that? We were talking about tracing the cost and allocating the cost, correct? In order to control and manage the cost tracing is very, very important. When you come to the direct material cost, you could trace it greatly. When you come to the labor cost, there are some variable direct labor costs which you can trace, but there are common labor costs which is still difficult to trace. And leave alone overhead cost, that has been always a great topic where we need to allocate. And number of lectures has been going on this for studying CMA program or any program. What are the methodologies of allocating the overhead cost? I'm going to tell you now, the concept of allocation is based on appropriation of the cost on a very approximate manner, where in the last decades before, we reached till activity-based costing, correct? Tracing the cost till the activity level. But even at the activity level, the cost is not getting very accurately allocated. So for that matter, we can go from ABC to quantum costing, where the accurate overhead cost can be not allocated. It can be traced. What is the helpfulness of this? It helps you in finding the cost perfectly, accurately to the dot. And to till date, we cost accountants did not have a technology. Thanks to all this quantum computing, where it can get to the grain of the cost at every level, and there is no need for allocation. We'll be getting into only tracing. So we are in a transformative time. We are in the flux of time where AI is going to help you the way you are talking about the cost and how do you allocate it. And if you talk about digital twins, this is one more thing I want to talk about. Digital twin is nothing but creating a replica. I would say a replica in terms of system, in terms of a product, without actually producing it. We in Dubai do a lot of real estate construction projects. You might be aware of it. Now, the technology is, how do you control the project cost? The project cost is controlled in a very difficult manner. We do not know how the Burj Khalifa is going to be constructed. Now, they use a lot of AI technology using the digital twins. The Burj Khalifa or any other building will be having a system or a soft replica of that, so that at every level when the cost is incurred, we will know how to adjust it. And every change that is going to happen in the building structures, in terms of civil structures, what is the cost in cement, in terms of steel, in terms of whatever is, even the labor cost can be estimated thanks to digital twins and digital threads, which is called as the digital threads and the life cycle costing. You have all studied in cost and management accounting life cycle costing. Now, with the digital threads and digital twins, the life cycle costing can help you to understand the complete product costing till the end of its life more accurately. So we talk about the benefit. I talked about it. I just want to touch upon one more important area on the ESG, correct? Sustainability is the buzzword all the time, and we have Mr. Bikaji. He is an expert in that. I just take some ideas also from him when we discuss a lot. He gave a lot of sessions on ESG in Dubai chapter also. Now, I want to share some of my thoughts. ESG is something very, very important. How costing and cost management is relevant in the ESG era. That's very important. If you talk about the level of seriousness, any 2 temperature increase in the climate is going to have a devastating impact on your flora and fauna, where it says if you do not control within 1.5 centigrade, but if you go to 2 centigrade, it will have a loss of 10% minimal of the animal and the plant species, losing half of their species life by the end of the century. That serious is the environmental problem. So we as cost accountants have to do a lot of things. These are various terminologies. I'm not getting into it due to time. The asset under management on the ESG market is going to be a whopping $53 trillion by 2026. So these all show the importance. So there are global initiatives coming from United Nations. Mainly it talks about the SDGs. We as cost accountants should be thorough with all the 17 SDG goals. A lot of gets cascaded to the country level. From the country level, it gets cascaded to the corporate level as well. So what is very important about this environmental planning and environment control is something called as the circular economy. We've been talking about only linear economies and reuse economies, where still we have non-recyclable waste left. But in terms of circular economy, there will be zero waste that cannot be processed further, or that cannot be having a non-recyclable waste. So that is what happening. There are a lot of standards that is coming in internationally and globally and regionally. But due to time constraint, I'm moving on. European Union is the mother. It's the feeding mother for the environmental costs. They are the board holders. They are the people who are the champions of environment. So a lot of standards comes from them. And India has also done a lot of job in terms of BRR, in terms of business responsibility reporting. Started somewhere a long time back as CSR. When I was a student, we used to study something called CSR. So a lot of work is also done. And international standards on S1 and S2 has also come up on this. And if you talk about, I'm proudly, give a very big hand for the whole team there. Give a very big hand, because this is the first ever and the only till now institute or a professional body in India which has given a guidance note relating to environmental or ESG or whatever you want to call them as. Basically, they talked about the guidance note on carbon credit mechanism, greenhouse gas accounting, ESG reporting. So this is the first ever body, and still today the main body which has issued a guidance note on ESG. And you as members of that should be very, very proud of that. Take a note of that. Go to the website of the institute. Guys, take a time to read on that. A lot of work has been done on that. Now, also, I think our past president is there, They are all doing a lot of work on exposure that for the sustainable standards, which is ISS 1 and ISS 2. And All these are very important because in every operations of your organization, sustainability has to be ingrained. Sustainability is the key word now. It has to be ingrained. So with that, what does that sustainability has to do with costing and total costing or total cost management? Now, when you are in the era, when you are in the world of sustainability, there are a lot of new things going to come. That's called the circular economy costing. We need to do I think new syllabus will be coming on this. I think syllabus setters here from the institute should look at it. What is something called circular economy costing and standard assets costing, transition finance costing. When you talk about going from these so-called traditional assets to the good sustainable assets, a lot of existing assets will become standard assets. We need to do the costing for that, and we have to do the financing for the new type of ESG assets. So supply chain costing, life cycle costing, green technology costing, these are all coming in terms of, I think, last 2 minutes I'll take it, sir, to finish this. Modern budgeting system. So we talked about, our previous speaker also talked about how do you do a reporting, right? So how do you do reporting and controlling? In terms of budgeting itself, which is a very big topic, most of the financial courses, most of the financial programs talks budget as a separate standalone topic. No budgeting is great unless it is integrated with the strategy. Unless it is integrated with the strategy, correct? So strategy integrated budgeting, but in your strategy, now ESG is also getting integrated. So we need to do a budget planning wherein it is linked to the corporate strategy, vis-a-vis it is linked to the ESG goals of the SDGs of UN or your corporate strategy, where it has to ingrain with your local ESG standards as well. So with that, if you look at it, I'm just giving you a model where from the ESG goals, it has to go to strategy, to the budgeting, to financial accounting. Means each and every line item, GL code of your trial balance should be linked to the ESG goals. That's what I'm talking about. Connecting the financial accounting to the ESG goals or the corporate strategy. And that doesn't stop there. And if you look at it, the whole thing, we do a vision, mission, goal, all analysis, then we make the corporate ESG goals. That should be connected to the cluster industry goals and finally to the United Nations SDGs, which is the 17 SDGs, which I showed you. If you can do this way, you're well tightened your budgeting in connection to your strategy, in connection to the ESG goals, in connection to the UN goals as well. This is a very detailed chart which talks about every budgeting has to go to the level of goals and objective levels and allocate the budget. People should not allocate or rather put the budget for department. For each department, this is also called as activity-based budgeting or strategy integrating to the activity level, going to that extent, grain to that level, and you pick up the budget allocation to that level. With that, what you do? You can also integrate that to the chart of accounts. So you don't put a budget for department 1 and say no. For the department 1, you need to have an Excel sheet or a chart of accounts. For each chart of accounts, we need to know what is the budget allocation. Say for stationery, for printing, whatever it is. So to that level you go, and that doesn't stop there. You do a GL level budget allocation or budget planning. But below stationery, there is pencil, paper. I'm being very, very minute to that. So we need to also do an operational code level budgeting. That's called getting the ESG goals of the United Nations to the corporate goals, to the corporate strategy, to the department strategy, to the chart of accounts, and to the operational line items. If you do a budgeting this detailed, I don't think we will have any problem. So with this last slide is, how do you control the budgeting also? As I told you already, the concept of postmortem reporting of budget variance is dead. Is dead. Do not belong to that particular world. Hey, I take a pride in closing my P&L every month, comparing the actuals with the budget, then giving the report after 20 days, 30 days. Already the damages happen, and that damage you're reporting also after 20 days. Correct? It's like you're keeping the numbers in mortuary. It will smell bad, sir. Correct? Friends, let's understand we are in the world of real-time budgetary control system, wherein at every spend, at the starting level itself, you know that you're going to overshoot the budget or not. That is technically called, internationally as a user called encumbrance accounting or real-time budgetary control. And if you do that, I think we will be able to really control it. This is what I've learned. The greatest lesson in life is we have to learn a lot. Learn, unlearn, and relearn. That's what we need to do as stay confident and do a lot of good work to the society. Thanks a lot once again for giving this opportunity. We'll meet some other time in the future. Thank you.